Chapter 11. The Fifth Vessel. The days that followed Izashi's recovery were filled with labor, sweat, and determination. With no immediate safe haven, the warriors made the decision to fortify their temporary refuge. Will, Terence, and Caleb worked tirelessly, chopping wood, reinforcing the hut, and constructing walls around their encampment. They weren't just surviving anymore. They were building something real.
"This place is home for now," Caleb said, wiping sweat from his brow. "Might as well make it safer."
Agreed, Will grunted, driving an axe into a thick log. I'd rather not wake up to monsters chewing on my leg.
Even with the occasional attacks from stray creatures, their spirits and summoned units stood guard, ensuring their camp remained a safe haven. But safety, as they were learning, was always temporary. One morning, Will and Terence ventured deeper into the forest to gather more firewood. The sun filtered through the tall trees, casting dappled light across the moss-covered ground. They were chatting idly when Will suddenly stopped in his tracks.
"Hold up," he said, squinting at something near the base of a massive oak tree.
Terence followed his gaze, and his expression hardened. There, lying unconscious beneath the tree, was a young woman. Her clothes were torn, her body battered, but what caught Will's attention the most was the faintly glowing marking on her hand. It looked just like theirs.
"She's one of us," Will muttered. Without hesitation, he knelt beside her, pressing 2 fingers to her neck.
A pulse, faint, but there.
"She's alive." He exhaled in relief before scooping her up into his arms.
"We need to get her back," Terence said, already turning toward camp.
The two wasted no time, rushing through the woods, branches snapping beneath their boots. By the time they reached the village in progress, Lancelot, Koga, and the others were waiting outside. The moment they saw Will carrying the unconscious girl, they tensed.
Caleb stepped forward. "Who is she?"
"We don't know yet," Will replied, "but look at her hand."
Caleb's gaze flicked down, and his breath hitched. The same celestial marking that they bore on their hands glowed faintly on hers.
Lancelot crossed his arms. "Interesting. There are a total of 7 spirits that seek strong souls."
"You think she's another chosen?" Caleb asked.
Koga nodded. "It's possible. If she bears that mark, she's bound to a spirit."
Lancelot frowned in thought. "Shiva, perhaps."
"Shiva?" Will asked, shifting the girl in his arms.
Lancelot turned toward him. "Shiva is one of the most powerful spirit warriors, but unlike the others, she only binds herself to women, which means if this girl is marked, she could very well be Shiva's vessel."
Terence rubbed the back of his neck. "I'm totally lost."
Koga smirked. "Then pay attention. We may be looking at our 5th warrior."
Will glanced down at the unconscious girl in his arms. Who was she? How had she ended up in this world? And more importantly, had she been sent here for the same reason they had?